Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
So for those of you who are hopping on this Q&A, perhaps you've just watched the world premiere of White Elephant, created by writer-director Andrew Chung. What's really exciting as part of the Real World Film Festivals, we're having a live Q&A, whoop whoop, with the cast and crew, yay! My name is Ella Cooper. I'm one of the programmers with Real World, and I had the opportunity to program this as part of the festival. And here in the house, we've got Andrew Chung, writer-director. Welcome, Andrew. How does it feel to finally be showing this work to a broader public, getting it out there in the world?
Amazing. It's kind of weird in this environment now. Normally I would have like a large audience and get a sense of what they liked and didn't like from their reactions, but now it's kind of, I'm just sitting at home wondering, like, did people like it or didn't like it? So it's a little bit strange, but we're really excited.
Wonderful. So I'd like to go around this Zoom room and have everyone introduce themselves. And if you could please share your name, the role you played in the film, and one thing you're up to right now during COVID life. And this could be like some amazing professional thing, or this could just be like how you're getting through these days. So you're welcome to be professional or personal. So, and if we could do the same thing that we did when we were starting, like you could just pass it on. And I'll start this time around with Zareen.
Hi, my name is Zareen Bushra. I played Pooja in the film. For COVID, honestly, I wrapped another project this summer and I'm starting another one at the end of October. So that's been pretty exciting, especially with everything being so shut down. It's been fun to work again. Other than that, I've just been working at my day job. So, that's been fun. And I'll pass it over to Jesse.
Oh, I thought I was on mute. Hi, I'm Jesse Naismith. I played the role of Trevor, and during COVID, being locked in and stuff and not being able to go out obviously is not the best thing in the world, but it's given me lots of time to sort of work on music, and back in school now, so everything's going pretty well.
Nice. And who do you pass it to?
I pass it to Gurleen.
Hi, I'm Gurleen and I play Manpreet Singh on White Elephant. And basically, COVID sucks, everybody knows that. But like Jesse said, I'm back in school as well. So I'm doing online schooling. I've been getting a lot of auditions, so that's very exciting for me. And pretty much just working and, trying to keep my craft up.
Nice. Who do you pass it to?
I pass it to Riley.
Hi, I'm Riley Myers. I played Derek, and I'm also attending school right now. I'm going to college for film production, so I've been working with a lot of camera equipment, making my own films, my own Andrew films. So I've just been doing that, and I think I'll pass it to Amanda.
Hi, I'm Amanda Cattabog. I played Jamie. And basically what I've been doing a lot of auditions too, and I've been playing with my pets a lot. That's really all I can do. And I've been doing my job as well. I pass it to Mika.
Okay. Hey, my name is Domika Kevin Hapuarchi, and I played Amit in White Elephant. I've also been doing music like Jesse, and also in school for business. And yeah, that's basically it.
Who do you pass it to?
Oh, I passed it to Andrew.
Hey, I'm Andrew. I wrote and directed this film. I've been doing a lot of writing. Can't do a lot in terms of production nowadays, but other than that, I have a baby in the oven. That's been my main project over the summer. But yeah, that's about it. I'll pass it to Dave.
Hey, I'm Dave. I'm the DOP or cinematographer for this movie. And ever since we've been able to shoot again, it's been nonstop shooting for me. So that's been good. During the pandemic, I learned to weld and I made some stuff.
That's awesome. And then last but not least,
Dave.
Okay, yeah.
Kalina. Hi, my name is Kalina. I played Lainey in White Elephant. And I've been busy with sets mostly. I've been doing a lot of off-camera, like behind-the-scenes stuff. I'm working as a production manager in Hamilton this weekend. So it's a 5-day shoot, and yeah, I'm pretty psyched.
Nice. So we've got a multifaceted cast and crew, and the premiere of this incredible film that you helped to create. Andrew, can you tell me a little bit about like how this film came to be? What was the inspiration to create like such a unique, like play on the 90s high school coming of age kind of rom-com, but not turned on its head? Like what inspired this?
It actually started as like part of an art gallery exhibition. So the inspiration was actually kind of forced into me when I was applying for this. I was like, okay, let me come up with an idea. The exhibition's goal was it was based on the writings of Glissant, which is a French writer, and the goal for the exhibition was to tackle a community that you did not belong to. So I chose the South Asian community. Because I felt like that was the most culturally adjacent community that I could, authentically portray. Because my parents are actually from India. They were born and raised in India, and I spent a lot of time around the South Asian community when growing up in the 90s in Scarborough/Markham. So I felt like I could portray it authentically. So that was the initial inspiration. In terms of the story itself, it was just based on a lot of my own high school experiences, a lot of my own friends that I had in high school, and I kind of wanted to tackle this, like what you said, like a rom-com genre, but kind of recontextualize it in like this majority minority neighborhood that was mostly Black and brown, right? Because we didn't see that growing up. So it's like, okay, so all those fairy tale romantic comedies or romantic teen movies, like how would that play out if it was actually in the neighborhood that I grew up in? So it was kind of like in that racialized context, like how would this story play out? Like it would not be anything like what we see in Hollywood or in these genres at all. So I thought that was like something that was really interesting to me that I thought I could like explore.
And then how did you find this amazing cast who took on the work? And I'm going to throw it in like to the cast in a moment as well. But like, what was that process, and what has it been like working with this awesome group?
I mean, I'm like been so happy with the cast. Like, they're such a joy to work with, and I have to give a lot of credit to my casting director, Jonathan Oliveira. He was our casting director, and yeah, we just ran a casting session, and we just managed to find a lot of gems that just fit our story really well. So we were very lucky, and they're so talented. So I'd love if they could speak about it more,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, let's start off with our I think our two main leading ladies here, Zareen and Gerline. Can you talk a little bit about what it was like seeing this script and then getting to be part of this film?
Yeah, for sure. So reading the script was a little bit Twilight Zone-y for me because it was kind of just like reading about who I was in high school. So I was kind of just like, oh, so I'm just playing myself when I was more annoying. That's great. But apart from that, it was really, like Andrew said, it was really cool to see that this was a project that was written by a person of color and was for people of color. Because as an actor of color, and obviously someone who works behind the scenes as well, I know it's important to not only have representation on screen, but also in the writer's room. It's been a really great experience working with Andrew and with the rest of the cast, just because he was so perceptive and receptive to any and all I guess criticism or improvements or just anything that the cast had to say about the script. And it was really great to work with him because he was just so accepting of everything, and even learning more about our cultures and anything in the script that might not be exactly accurate, and working with that. So as far as the rest of the cast goes, this is such a talented group. It's been incredible to work with them. I couldn't have asked for a better group.
I honestly couldn't say it better myself. She literally took all the words out of my mouth. When I first saw the script and I first saw my role, I was like, this is literally me, like me in real life. Like, I don't even have to act like this. This is literally me. And it was just so amazing being able to play that role and to be able to like be a part of such a diverse cast. and it was just absolutely amazing. Thank you, Andrew, once again for giving me the opportunity, giving us all this opportunity to be able to let that out into the world and actually have people see that and be more diverse.
One thing I also loved was like everyone's performance. So Jesse, Amanda, Riley, Delmika, Kalina, like you brought in these really like nuanced and fun, and like Amanda, you had such a tough, like you were such a tough character, you were such a badass, and then Jesse, you were surprised, right? Like there was the expectation you were going to be one thing and then you turned out to be another thing. And then Delmika, your role, and like Kellen and Riley, and like just how that all came together. And so my question for the group, whoever wants to like jump in, which is always awkward on Zoom, but like what is it like being part of a film that also has a social message? Amanda, Delmika. I see Delmika talking, but you're muted.
Okay, there we go. Yeah. So I think it's super cool to see that, and it really like points the film as something more than just another feature film, and it kind of extends another message, as you said, and we're all diverse in this whole cast, so that sends like a really cool message. And because Andrew was doing this for that particular gallery, I think that really sparked a special side of creativity in him. And seeing the script as one of the actors, it was super cool to read that there were other South Asian people and some other diverse characters in there, and it was super cool to work with everybody. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I feel like this movie is extremely important, especially to people our age. Like growing up, trying to find your real identity, that's hard, especially in high school when you have so many people just be like, oh, you should be doing this, like putting you in like a box. And that's hard. So I can identify with Pooja a lot. Like there have been times where I'm like, why am I like this? Why did I have to be this skin color? Why isn't my hair naturally straight? But then growing up is just like, what? There's only one me, and I'm proud of it. I love myself, and it was a journey to really love yourself, but this is when the movie is so important because it is a self-love story.
Yeah, doing this movie was a super awesome opportunity for me, and I really appreciate it because it sort of opened my eyes to things that like I've not necessarily experienced myself, but I could sort of through this try to get a greater understanding about things that have been going on and are going on. And I think like all credit to Andrew, he really emphasized that we weren't going to be one-dimensional characters, as you touched on, like thinking we're going to be one thing and then turning out that it's not like that. Andrew really sort of emphasized that he wanted depth to the characters, and I think he did a really good job at getting us to portray that on the screen.
Nice. So I had another question back to you, Andrew. This is your first feature, correct?
Yeah, technically, yeah. I did like a web series that kind of blew up into a feature, but that wasn't really a feature, it was a series.
Right, which is a great thing to do, right? Start small and then develop from there. For folks who, want to build their chops at directing, what does it take to work with like a cast of younger actors, essentially? Younger but talented and experienced actors. And really get these performances, because in a sense, it also comes down to having a good director. Like you can have the most amazing actors, but if you don't know how to lead that journey, it's hard to get the performance. So what are some of the things advice you would give folks in like, how did you work with this team, I guess is my question.
I mean, for me, like I see myself as more of an actor's director. So it's like I spend a lot of time with the actors. Like we do a lot of rehearsals. Like I make sure I get to know them and that we have good chemistry with each other and that we care about one another on set. And yeah, so my advice would just be like really relate to the actors, like and be sensitive to them and their character. right? Like as the character is a real person to me, like when I'm directing this. So it's like Jesse was saying, like even for like say a role like Kalina's and Riley's, like you'd think, okay, that's like a nothing role or something, right? Like, or what can I do with this, right? But like I give them all backstories, and I tell them like this is something, like it's not coming from a hateful place where some of these characters you might think like are just like, they just seem, okay, that just person's just rude, like it's, to me, like I try to go deeper with the actors on that. And I think when I do that, like I think the actors commit a lot more to those roles because they understand where the character's coming from and everything that happens that's not in the film, like so having that greater understanding, I think really helps in terms of working with all these young actors. And yeah, I just say just really be sensitive to the actors and their characters, and hopefully you can connect with them, right?
Nice. And I mean, it's interesting because Riley and Kelena, like you also stand out for me in your performances because you set a tone, right? And you set a tone of like some of like the dominant ways of being around the school, and that like racist stuff that folks run into when they're going through high school, and maybe #life, but so I'm curious to know, like, what is it? What do you hope people learn from, like, and I put this out to everyone, but like, what do you hope people will learn from watching this film?
Oh, I hope that people will learn that, like people were saying, depth in the characters. There's a lot of depth in people, and people have a lot of sides. Even though they may be giving one side to you, they may have other sides to other people. And for one, never judge a book by its cover, I think is a pretty obvious thing to take away from this movie. Don't judge someone for their skin color. Don't judge someone from what you've heard from other people. You want to judge people from your own experiences with them and how they actually are as a person. Get to know them before brushing them off, like me and Kalina's character never got to know Pooja, didn't give her a chance. You want to get to know people, and you want to be able to learn what they have to offer and what they have to give to the world.
Nice, thank you.
Yeah, I'd love to add on.
Mm-hmm.
Freezing up a little bit.
Oh yeah, you're cutting out a little bit.
Oh, all right. Callan, I think we might have to come back to you. In the very moment that you had something to say, the internet spoiled your plans. Do you want to try one more time? Let's see if we can hear you. Oh, hello. Another cast member is joining us. Welcome. So I'm curious.
I'm using a personal hotspot right now.
Oh, so Callan, I'm sorry, but we can't hear you right now. We'll come back to you once the internet is fixed. So I'm curious about, like, what is it like now as a young actor, coming from a very culturally diverse heritage?
Okay.
Do you find that you're seeing scripts like this? Do you find that opportunities to be in films like this are more available now?
I feel like, yes, I am finding a lot of. Oh. Are we good?
Yep.
I feel like nowadays I am seeing a lot of scripts that says diversity, 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 and it makes me feel more empowered as a woman of color that I am seeing this and I'm able to be a part of that, even if it's an audition, even if I don't get it.
Hello?
The fact that I'm seeing it, the fact that I know that there's other people out there who are getting that opportunity just makes it so much better.
That's great.
And also, I just want to say, for the film, I want people to take, I know this film taught me a lot of self-love. Even though my character was trying to find out who she was, what her identity was, I myself connected so much to Manpreet that I also was having difficulty in my real life experience as with my identity and a lot of stuff that I went through when I was younger. So that honestly helped me. And I hope that this film helps other younger women and men, boys and girls all around the world to find their identity and to know what self-love is, what truly self-love is.
Beautiful. Zareen, I saw you unmute yourself.
Yeah, so in terms of scripts and auditions, yeah, I'm definitely seeing more roles for people of color. There obviously has been a lot of progress since, like the early 2000s. However, we definitely do still have a long, long way to go because from all the scripts and audition calls that I see, it's usually the actor of color is like the best friend or like the supporting character who's just kind of there to bolster up the white lead. And it's not that the entire casting call is open ethnicity. The lead will always be Caucasian and has to be a Caucasian lead, and they just kind of want people of color because of the whole diversity initiative going on to seem like a more diverse production. And I think the only way to solve that is through the writers' room and through more people of color doing the writing, directing, producing. Because if we're only focusing on representation in terms of what we see on screen, then the problems that we've always faced will continue to happen because it'll just be the same stories being told, but with faces of color. And in order to tackle those issues, we need to make sure we're tackling them at the root. And which brings me to sort of what I want people to take away from this movie, kind of like what Gerline said as well. When I first read the script, I hated Pooja so much. And it was because it's who I was in high school. And I think of my high school self when I'm kind of just very irritated at who I was in high school and how much I really clung to white culture and white beauty standards and all that jazz. And it took a lot of unlearning to get to a point where I realized that, everyone sort of, especially being a brown girl growing up in a society like this, you're going to have those phases where there's a lot of internalized racism, there's a lot of insecurity, and eventually you'll grow out of it. And that's kind of what I hope people take away from this movie, is that it is a learning curve for everyone, and no one is sort of born perfect and cognizant of all the issues in the world, and everyone sort of as a teenager goes through these bouts of insecurity, but eventually it's through our experiences and learning to love ourselves for who we are that we're going to be able to overcome that.
Beautiful, well said, thank you. And welcome to how do you pronounce your name? Is it Yut? Oh, go ahead, introduce yourself, tell us who you are. You were part of the cast, you were in the film. Welcome, you just joined us. Oh no,
we can't hear him. We can't hear you.
Andrew, do you want to introduce?
Yeah, so it's Yahya Amin. He plays Rohit. Yahya, just try to fix your audio. Go to your mute, and then I'm sure you could check your audio settings. But yeah, he plays Rohit, so he appears near the end of the film, and he's often referred to like throughout the film and the story.
Right, yeah, is that tough brother who wants to make change from a more violent perspective. Mm-hmm. And I love that, like all these different characters, all these different perspectives, the ways in which people are trying to, address what's coming up in the film. And Dave, you were the cinematographer for this, correct? So that, we could talk about like lack of diversity in cinematography, but we don't have to go there per se. Had you worked, have you and Andrew worked together quite a bit prior to this?
This is the first narrative thing we've done together. We shot a couple of commercials prior, but oh no, we did a little like a little skit a couple of years ago. Yeah, but
nice.
no.
What is that relationship between like the DOP and the director? Like, how do you make that work?
I don't know. We just kind of did it. It was an ambitious project, so we just kind of got each other's backs and did what we had to do to get it done.
Nice. And how does it feel to like finally see it all come together?
It was good. It was really nice to see it. It was, like I said, it was ambitious. There was some challenges chasing Zareen around a field with a camera when she's like 4'10", 4'11", and I'm like 6 feet, so I'm carrying a camera chasing her. That was tough and fun.
I have very fond memories of that, honestly.
Yeah. But that was a good summer. That was yeah. I like doing that. That was
lovely. Fun. And so Andrew, you also wrote this piece, correct?
I did, yeah.
And you teach screenwriting. And a question I asked you in the past was, what advice can you give to folks who are aspiring screenwriters who want to realize, stories that are close to home, stories that represent more BIPOC folks? What are the first steps to really just getting your ideas down on paper?
I mean, for me, I always write from my personal experience. So that's the first place I always try to mine. But for writing in general, my advice would always just be you just got to start. Like even for me, it's starting is the hardest thing. Like I could sit around for 6 months, and then finally that single day that I start is when the script happens, right?
Mm.
And then once you start, it's easy to keep going. But it's the starting that's always the most difficult part. In terms of finding inspiration, like like I said, always pull from your real life. For BIPOC writers, I'd say like really pull, like it's more important than ever for them to pull from their actual lives, right? Because that's where the unlearning begins as a writer, right? Like what Zareen was mentioning, like it took a lot of unlearning for me to figure out like to write my own personal stories. Like growing up, like as a teenager, even throughout university, like I was not writing my stories. I was writing white people's stories because that's what I was conditioned to watch, right? So I never saw myself that I could watch my own stories on TV. So I had to unlearn by watching films with BIPOC, and then that unlearning process started to happen, and then I started to put my own stories on the page. So I think we're at a better place now in the world. So I think it's a lot easier, but like when I was growing up, it was tough. It was a lot of like conditioning I had to work my mind against, right? But yeah, so I'd say for BIPOC writers to just write your own stories. It's really, really important for that.
And it sounds like, I mean, it's interesting because we talk about like our relationship with like dominant media culture, and like we're all still affected by it, but then there's also the media culture that we're trying to sell our work to, right? And so do you find like, how do you navigate that and getting people to like believe in what you've created once you've made it?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the dilemma, right? Like knowing that my BIPOC stories are not going to have the same commercial success that a white story would, right? So I've struggled with that throughout my entire career because, like, I know for like that, you know, it's just going to be more niche. That's just naturally what's going to happen. Now, if you're trying to elevate yourself in your career, that's very difficult, right? So unless you're one of the lucky ones, right? The ones that we see, that we've been seeing kind of rise in the ranks in Hollywood, right? But there's so many more of us out there that are not getting that shine. You know, that's why real world, you know, is so important to filmmakers like us. Like we don't have a platform otherwise, right? Like historically, every single one of my films have only been programmed by BIPOC festivals. I have never been programmed by any festival that was not a BIPOC festival. And to me, that's very telling, right? Like I wouldn't have any platform if it wasn't for a BIPOC festival, right? Like I wouldn't, I like, so the festivals are just as important, right? So we're all interconnected in this system, in the film system. And it's like every single stage of the process is important to getting our stories out there.
Yeah, great points. So I have a question to throw back out to the whole cast here. What were some of your favorite moments in the film, whether you were in it or someone else was in it? Like, what were some of the funniest moments for you behind the scenes? You know, keeping it PG-13, and but also, what were some of the strongest moments that you felt when you watched the film that you're just like, that one?
For me, sorry, Riley, do you want to go first?
Amanda, then Riley.
All right.
So, yeah,
for me, I got. Oh wait, who's going first?
And then Riley.
Okay. It's okay. But for me, going to school and being bullied a lot, I got to transform myself into a bully. So when I was getting like the pep talk, it's just like, okay, you know, what can you get from your experience and put it into Jamie? I'm like, okay, well, I can put a lot of experience and put them into Jamie, because a lot of kids called me names, a lot like how she calls like Pooja poo poo and all this stuff. And she's just mean. She's nasty. Jamie's nasty. So to play that kind of role that is so different from who I really am was so much fun. Like I got to boss people around, and the fight was so much fun. And you could really see like the transformation between like me and the girls. Like as soon as they yelled cut, it's just like, is everyone okay? Like I didn't mean to actually hurt you. Like it was a lot of fun to do it with like Zareen and Gerline, and then the other two girls, Kalina, I wish she was here, and Cassandra too. It was a lot of fun to do that. Okay, Riley, go ahead.
I was also gonna mention the fight scene. I thought it was so cool watching it live, like actually on the premiere, because I did not get to see it yet. So when I saw it in the premiere, I was blown away by how it looked, especially getting to see it actually in front of me. It looked so much different on camera. It looked a lot better. The action looked a lot more intense. And so I think that was probably like my favorite scene in the film.
Nice, nice. How about we go Jesse, Gurleen, then Yaya.
Definitely, I agree with that. While I was watching the fight scene, my knees started hurting again. Like I felt the pain from before. It was so crazy because when you're recording it, you're not paying attention to like how the sequence is gonna be. And then when I saw it, I was like, whoa. I looked like I actually punched her, but I didn't. And I got scared of my own power. I was like, whoa. But that was super fun. We actually had a sound person, a sound guy, and he would be hiding like in the car, like in between the car, like we would shove him in there, and it would be so funny because we'd be like, oh my god, like he's like struggling, and like it'd be so crazy. But it was amazing. Every part of this movie was just crazy.
Yeah, like straight up, this is probably like the highlight of like the last 5 years of my life. Like it was just such like a good time shooting this, and so lucky that we had such an amazing cast and people working behind the cameras. Everybody was super nice, talking to all of them. And I mean, as for like fun behind the scenes, it was just endless. It was like it didn't feel like work. I mean, shooting a movie, I guess usually probably doesn't, but it was just so fun. Like all the scenes you would see. Most of the fun probably went down like in the schoolyard, any of those scenes that we were shooting, like because Andrew would get us to like have banter before the camera would actually start picking up what we were saying, and we would just be saying the most ridiculous stuff that I'm happy is not on the final version of the film. And I also learned how to cartwheel there. Kalina and some people taught me how to do that. So it was just a blast, like straight up. I love everybody that worked on this, and it was just an amazing time. I mean, I remember it forever.
And welcome, Yaya, Amin. Let's see if your sound's working now.
Is it working right now?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Hi, I'm sorry I came late. I'm not at work right now. But my name is Yaya. I play as Rohit. The best thing about being part of this, was meeting every single one of the people I was working with. Every cast member I was there became friends with me. And me, I'm the type of person to hate meeting people. I hate like talking to people. It's just who I am. And now that we're good friends, it's just nice. You know what I mean? It's fun to be there. I was always wanted to be an actor. And the day I got an email telling me that, hey, you're booked for this role, just like the happiest day of my life, honestly. You know what I mean? Either way, it's still an indie film, but still made I think it made my whole year. And that year was tough. There's so much stuff going on. But this year, that time, since we did that, was the greatest time ever, being on set, learning everything there's to know about set, seeing the director, how the boom guy was working his magic, working with the set, memorizing the scene, being this character, and yeah, it's the best part about it, honestly.
That's amazing. And it's huge when people say yes. Like when you get a yes, I find that, it's like a big up a yes, something that says you can do this, like,
oh yeah, exactly.
That's what's so important about these films is like, we need to see more diverse representation because when you grow up only seeing certain people on screen, you don't know that you're good, like you don't know that you actually belong on screen too. And so I think that's what's exciting about this film is the way it's cast, all the different roles, the nuance of the story. We're going to be wrapping soon, but does anyone else have stories they'd like to share or, Kalina?
Am I still frozen? I would love to contribute as well.
You.
Okay, awesome. I kind of changed locations a little bit. This is sick. So I'd like to say like my favorite experience actually shooting and then just overall experience as well. My favorite scene was definitely the fight scene. There's a lot of like freedom and how we obviously we had a coordinator go through the fight scenes with us. We actually met up, like we had fight workshops prior to being on set, which was so fun. Yeah. But I think it was so fun just because when I was around everybody as we were fighting, I was able to say whatever I wanted. And it was like, I don't know, I just got to like shit talk and like yell and scream. And like it was just that like creative freedom of just it's not like, oh, I'm here and I'm saying this line in this way. Like I literally felt like I was in a fight, which was really interesting. But overall, like I loved the vibe of the set, and I loved literally every cast and crew member. It was something really special, and we just had a lot of time to get to know each other and just do really fun things. Like we spent a lot of time skateboarding. Riley, Mika, and I actually went to a skate park together and went skateboarding. We did cartwheels. I did slam poetry. We played Bloody Knuckles. It was all that stuff. Like had sleepovers. It was all that stuff that like made it for me. And just it was a time when I was really busy with auditions and productions, and I had this production as an actor going on as well. It was really exciting for me because I felt like a lot of things were falling into place, and I got to experience that with so many really special people. So I'm really grateful for that.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Add on.
Sorry.
Sorry, what I was saying about the creativity and the freedom the actors have when we're on set. Even watching the film, I noticed a lot of lines that people were saying that weren't actually in the script, that were completely off the top of the head, because Andrew allows us to have, like Jesse was saying, that banter beforehand and just talking about whatever, sometimes even maybe talking about what we actually did yesterday with each other, because me, Jesse, and Kalina are friends in the movie. We're the three friend group. So we also all got together, like Kalina was saying, had sleepovers and stuff outside to actually build that bonding experience with each other for a more realistic effect when shooting.
Nice. And Zurian, I saw that you wanted to jump in.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that in the film, it takes place in late fall. So we're all in jackets and heavy jeans, like 90s jeans. But we were shooting in the dead of summer. So we were constantly like close to dying from heat stroke. There was days where the second AD was just tasked with bringing us packs of ice, like Ziplocs with ice in it, so that we could just between set scenes just literally put it wherever we could because it was scorching. And seconding what Gerline said, this was honestly my favorite part of being on set. So James, our sound guy, would have to squeeze himself into the tiniest of spaces that I probably would have a hard time fitting into, being like 4'11", and he's a big man. It was such a good time being on set. I think my favorite scenes to shoot were probably the Romeo and Juliet ones because I'm a huge Baz Luhrmann fan, and Romeo plus Juliet is one of my favorite movies, and Leo DiCaprio is my favorite actor, so it was kind of a dream come true getting to reenact those scenes. Just a great time, but yeah, honestly, such a great cast, and everyone was so fun to work with. We really did become friends on set, and I love you guys. I love you guys so much.
Beautiful. And Domika?
Yeah, to add on to that, I think Andrew really knows how to bring, the creative freedom out in all of us, like Riley said. And it was super cool working with him as a director, because I thought, like, I had an idea of what a director was supposed to be, but, he kind of like completely like flipped the switch. And, he said, he started off with, saying a couple things before we started each and every scene. And like between scenes, we'd like reset and all that stuff. So that just really made, the creative side and my creative side, really, blossom. And I think he made me a better actor. As for my favorite scene, the moment you said the funniest scene or something, I remembered the scene where Yaya, who plays Rohit, holds a gun to Riley's head, which is which is kind of cool because because it was such an
that was the message though.
No, because it was such a cool scene because it's so serious, but in between each scene we laughed so hard because we just couldn't be serious at that point. And so until we started shooting, we just laughed, and I made some great friendships.
That scene was by far my favorite scene also. Because we had to be.
Everyone is saying their favorite scenes were the fight scene and the one with the gun.
All the violence.
No, I mean, I'm teasing. What I get from what you've all shared is that you had a really tight cast, that you really enjoyed working together, that behind this like really excellent film and writing and everything, there were ways in which you identified with the characters, and there are ways in which that you also had a lot of fun and really took your roles seriously, which we can see in this final work. Amanda, were you about to say something?
Oh, I was just gonna add on to what Zareen was saying about how it was so hot in the school and everything. We were so lucky to have like a chat time tea place right next to where we were shooting, so we could get smoothies anytime. I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. We could just go there, come back. It was amazing.
And speaking of, you also created, Andrew, these like, I remember those moments in high school where like in Montreal, we just had like second cup where I was, and we'd be able to like meet at the second cup and sit there. And then I moved to Ontario, and then it's Tim Hortons, you know? And that it's like sort of boring, but it would be like the place that teenagers go, right? And it was something that I'd forgotten, but I just noticed how you like, there's a lot of attention to detail to really get the energy of that time. And I think that there's some like, what do you also find, and you could nod your heads if you agree, or you can add on, but do you find that even though this film is set in the 90s, that it's still relevant today?
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
And why is that?
Yeah, for me, I actually, when I first wrote the film, it was actually set in present day. And what happened was, when I was getting a lot of feedback from it, like it was some of the themes were being misinterpreted, like because it was the digital age, right? Like people were pulling out their phones when the fight was happening, right? So then a lot of people were like, are you trying to make a statement about the digital age and this and that? And it was just, I felt it was like muddying the themes of the story. So I thought, like, let me put this in the time that I actually grew up, and it would be more authentic, and it'll strip away a lot of those like distractions, right? And and I think it really it made sense for the story too, because like you said, it's like it's still so relevant. Like, I mean, we're still having issues today, right? Like, and it's sometimes it's like we take, you know, one step forward, two steps back, it feels like, right? So I felt like everything that I experienced back then, like it's still extremely relevant today, you know?
Gerline, I noticed you were gonna jump in.
Oh, I just wanted to say how in like regular jobs you kind of dread waking up every morning to go to the job, but in this case, I used to love waking up. Like I was awake like 30 minutes before my actual scene was supposed to happen, right? And it was just amazing because like I would see who I'm working with. I'm like, oh my God, yes, can't wait for this scene, can't wait for this. And it would just give me like that motivation to like go to work, get up, and it's just so amazing.
And yeah, to add on to you know what you said, I think like even nowadays, you know, like chilling at Timmy's, right, is gonna be, you know, chilling at, I don't know, the mall or whatever, right? And I remember in high school I had so many moments where, you know, we would just go to the same place, you know, eat the same food or whatever, but it was just amazing to us, you know. And I think I really connected with that when yeah, in the script. Yeah, that was super cool. And also what Andrew said, definitely, like I think we're definitely moving forward in the right direction. I think we need to keep moving forward in the right direction, and yeah, hopefully it gets better and continues to get better. And also, because of Andrew, I actually started writing a film with my friend too, and yeah, I decided to include, you know, BIPOC cast and everything. So yeah, that's so cool. Thank you for inspiring me.
Well, I think that's a really great note to end on. I want to thank, you know, Andrew Chung, the whole cast of White Elephant, Dave Lam, cinematographer, for joining us as part of the live Q&A of your world premiere. It's really exciting to have it as part of the festival this year, and I'm super excited to see what you all do next. So yeah, thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity.
Thank
We're so
you.
grateful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone. See
Thank you so much.
Be cool.
Bye.
Who are watching, big these folks up. To the audience, just keep on watching films like this. This is how you vote to see this work, to make this work happen. Like whoever's watching right now, tell people about the film and make a point of watching more films like that so that we can just see it out there in the world.
Manifest it.